Welcome to BullTV, where we're bullish on Collierville and the Mid-South. I'm your host, David Pickler. BullTV is a monthly show that empowers, educates, and entertains while highlighting the people who inspire and deliver solutions for a stronger community. BullTV is presented by Pickler Companies and proudly produced by the students of Collierville High School. We invite you to watch our show at www.bulltv.show, thebullnetwork.com, and Comcast Channel 1081. New episodes air on the second Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. Central Time. On today's show, we celebrate excellence in education with Dr. Brandi de la Cruz, the 2025 Tennessee Teacher of the Year. She shares her passion for teaching, her vision for workforce development, and the lasting difference she's making in classrooms across Tennessee. Today I'm joined by Dr. Brandi de la Cruz, the 2025-26 Tennessee Teacher of the Year. Dr. de la Cruz serves as a math instructor at Collierville High School, where she has taught for 6 years. She teaches dual enrollment calculus and algebra 2, bringing a deep sense of purpose and care to her classroom. Throughout her career, Dr. de la Cruz has built a reputation for making mathematics engaging, relevant, and accessible to all students. Her innovative approach and dedication to student success have inspired many of her students to pursue careers in education, particularly in the field of mathematics. A champion for lifelong learning and academic excellence, Dr. de la Cruz continues to embody the values of Tennessee's educational community, empowering the next generation of scholars and leaders throughout her passion for teaching. Brandi, thank you for joining us on BullTV. Let's start like we always do. In 3 words, who is Brandi de la Cruz?
Only 3 words. You're really limiting me here. I'd have to say Christian, mother, teacher.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to let you expand a little bit. When you think about the 3, what does that really mean for you?
So that's who I am. Initially, I wouldn't have said, teacher is one of my words, but I'm in my 16th year of teaching. And when I'm at home, I'm thinking about teaching. When I'm on the weekends, I know I'm not supposed to, I'm thinking about my students. So I had to use one of those words, use teaching as one of my 3 words. But I recently became a mother at the age of 40.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, God's little plan for me. And so, I'm a mother first and foremost before anything, because everything I do is for him now, and it's really changed me as a person and a teacher, having that little boy in my life.
And what is his name?
His name is Leon.
Okay.
Yeah, so ironically, it was my husband's mom's last name and my grandpa's first name, so we had to kind of combine it to make it Leon.
That is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We talked about your passion for teaching, and you're always thinking about teaching and your students. And obviously it's done some amazing things for you. So, as we mentioned earlier, you've just been recently named as the 2025-26 Tennessee Teacher of the Year. What was your first reaction when you got the news?
I kind of blacked out. So we're sitting at a nice dinner table. I have some good people at my table with me. The last year's Teacher of the Year stands up, opens an envelope just like the Oscars, and says, and this year's Teacher of the Year is Dr. Brandi de la Cruz, and I blacked out. I don't think I heard him say it. And I look at my table, and they're all standing and clapping, and I was like, that's me. Oh my gosh, he said my name. So it was very surreal. I felt like I was on a cloud kind of floating up the stage, but now it's hit me, and it's an amazing honor.
That's fantastic. So what inspired you to become an educator, and why math specifically?
So my trajectory into education was not traditional by any means.
Okay.
My undergraduate degree is in business.
Okay.
I wanted to be Martha Stewart. She was my role model growing up. Obviously not the jail time, but like everything she does in industry. She was on magazines, she had her own TV show, and you didn't see a lot of women when I was growing up in power like that. So I wanted to be Martha Stewart. My undergraduate degree is in education, as in business administration, not education. And so I got my degree after 4 years, and I became manager of a foot store, Finish Line, if you've ever been there.
Sure.
And it was not what I wanted at all. It was not. I was not happy there. Like, I had to work on weekends. I was working 12 to 16-hour shifts, and I was dealing with shoes. I'm not passionate about shoes. And one day, just out of the blue, a teacher, I'll never forget her name, Susie Cox, walks into the store on her phone complaining that her local school needed a math teacher, saying, I can't believe they fired him. We need a math teacher. What are these kids going to do? I was very brazen that day. Don't know what happened. I walked up to her and I said, what does it mean to be a math teacher? And she said, do you have a degree? I said, yes, ma'am, in business. She goes, that's fine. You need to get your MAT degree. You need to interview at our school district, and we need you. Like, if you're interested, we need you. I interviewed the next day. It was for a math job.
Okay.
It was for an English job. I'd be an English teacher today, I think. It was for a math job. I walked in, interviewed, got hired the next day as an interim long-term sub, and that's it. Like, that is
Wow.
divine intervention. That was God's plan. I'm here because Susie Cox walked into my store that day.
So becoming a math teacher was really a happy accident.
It really was. It was not
Wow.
intentional. And if you ask any of my math teachers from high school about it, they'd laugh. They would laugh because I was not the best math student.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So as you've gone through this non-traditional path to becoming a teacher, was there a teacher or a mentor that was in your own life that really helped shape your teaching philosophy? Because it sounds like you were a little bit of a kind of a lump of clay that were able to form this.
So if you look all the way back to when I was in high school, I had a teacher named Miss Karen Lilly. I still remember her. She never gave up on me. So I was an athlete in high school. Like, I knew I was going to go play softball in college, so that was my goal. You know, school was just there to get me to college so I can get my softball on. And she never gave up on me. She said, I know math's not your thing. I know you're only in high school to get to college to play softball, but you're good at math. Like, let's work together to make math something you can do. She made it fun. She didn't make it a chore. She made it enjoyable. So even though I was not a math girly, even though it was not something I looked forward to doing every day, I looked forward to her class because of her personality, the culture she built, and the community that she built within the room.
Wow. Teachers are so important. They can have such an incredible impact on our lives. Now, you've been here at Collierville High School for 6 years.
Sir.
So what, in your opinion, is that makes Collierville High School such a very special place?
So Collierville is actually my 5th school to teach at.
Your 5th?
So I started in Arkansas.
16 years.
I know, right? I know. I started in Arkansas. I worked at 3 schools there, and I worked in 2 schools here. I worked at Southwind High School in Memphis before I came here. And so I've seen all that education has to offer. I've taught at middle schools and high schools. And what makes Collierville so special is all the opportunities that we give our students. I do not know of any other high school where kids can leave here with CNA degrees, as welders, as mechanics, knowing how to run this beautiful studio that we're in today. These students here are blessed to be exposed to this education and all of these opportunities that are not prevalent at any other school that I've been at.
Sure.
And when you come to the teachers, there's over 180 teachers here. We are so diverse in our thinking, our beliefs, our way of teaching, that these kids walk into different classrooms and they get exposed to different cultures, different types of instructional strategies, different everything. So they get the best of all the worlds, you know, the CTE worlds, the extracurricular worlds, and the education worlds.
Now, there's no question, Collierville is a very unique place. I've traveled all over the state, advocating for great education from both a business standpoint and an education standpoint. And we always talk about the uniqueness of both the Collierville community and Collierville High School. It's incredible.
Yeah, we're very large, so you would think, but I truly believe every student can find their place here. You know, even though we have over 3,000 students, there's enough to do here that every student can find their niche here.
That's so important. Now, we talked about a little bit about the teachers and the influence. Talk to me a little bit about the students and how they influence the way that you teach or the way that you see education today.
So obviously education's adapting. I do remember when I was in high school, my teacher saying, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. You got to know this mental math. And now what do we have? We have calculators in our pockets on our cell phones. So technology's adapting, and that means our children are adapting. And so the students have taught me, one, how to be young. Let me be honest, I love teaching high school because sometimes they make me feel old, I'm not gonna lie. But for the most part, they make me feel young. You know, they're funny. They're just so inclusive, and they ask me about Leon every day. They ask me about, who I am, and they care. These students are empathetic, they're caring, and they're so sweet. And so I want to teach them. I come every day wanting to teach. And if I come in and I've had a bad day, these kids are like, we're still teaching. Like we're gonna work through this together, but you're still gonna teach us. Like they love to learn, and that makes me want to be a better teacher because they come in saying, we're not having a day off, we're here to learn math, we want to learn, and I make my lessons fun for them because I want to make them happy. You know, I love my kids. I want to do what they need so they can be successful in college or whatever they choose to do after high school.
Well, you know, I really want to talk about this whole thing about your classroom because a lot of people, when they think of a math class, it's a little bit like going to the dentist.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be.
Not necessarily the most fun thing. And I've heard so much about the innovation and the creativity that you have in your classroom. Talk to me a little bit about some of the creative strategies that you use to make the more challenging concepts actually click, to really actually work, and for your kids to figure them out.
So like I said, I was not the best math student in high school. And so as a teacher, I know I have brilliant kids in my room, but I don't always teach them. I try to teach the kids who don't love math because I figured if I can make it accessible to them, I'm making it accessible to the higher end kids at the same time.
Right.
So I do whatever I can to make math fun. I want students to come into my room maybe not loving math, but when they leave my room, they're going to have a whole new love of math. I promise they do. If they don't love it, they at least respect it. And they know it has a place in society and a place in their world. And so in my classroom, it's fun. Every day, I try to keep my energy up. I try to make it very collaborative. We do a lot of grouping in my class. First day of school, I tell them to look around. They're all going to be best friends when they leave my room because we collaborate and we work together every single day. So one day they might be working with student A, the next day they're working with student B.
Right.
We work together every day because in the real world, you work together. So I make sure collaboration and mathematical discourse is the first thing we do every single day. Those kids will talk to each other. They will work together whether they like each other or not. And I think that once I produce that culture of acceptance, of camaraderie, everything else just falls into place. And then I try to bring in real world examples in everything I do. I understand that math is not everybody's forte. I'm not naive. But math is in everything we do. Whether you are a cosmetologist and you are doing highlights in someone's hair, you have to use math formulas to know how much color to put in. Whether you're in construction trying to figure out a roof, that's geometry. Whether you're doing financials, that's math. So in every subject that I teach, I try to incorporate a real life example and a real life job that these students may or may not know about. And so that way, if they feel like it's relevant to them, they're more engaged, they're more interested.
No question about it. Now, you talked about earlier about some of the amazing opportunities there are for students here at Collierville High School with all the different careers and all the different certifications. And I know that one of your great passions is workforce development. And so how do you connect what happens in your classroom to the skills that you know that the students are going to need in the workforce today?
So one thing I do is I go out in the community. I talk to members of Collierville, of Memphis, and I ask them, like, what's our need? What are we needing? Are we needing entry level? Are we needing data analysis? What are we needing? And I try to figure out what math concepts correlate to those jobs.
Right.
Because I figure if I can instill some of those skills into our kids, then they're better suited for the job market. And why go into a degree or go into a job where there's 8,000 people applying for that job? Isn't it smarter for you to go into a job where you're like the only one who's good at it? So that's why I try to find the jobs where there's a market, where there's a hole, and I find the math that correlates to that job, and I talk to my kids about it. And if they're interested, then hey, I just filled a job market, right? I just filled a gap in our society that's needed. And I do that by building relationships with community members. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I go to meetings. I talk to members of community. And I just started a website, social media platform called But When Will I Use This? And I interview people in society and I say, hey, what's your job? They tell me their job and we talk about how math correlates to their job regardless of if they went to college or not. And so I'm going to send that out to teachers throughout the country, hopefully. We're starting small, but hopefully, and then they'll start using it in their classroom. So when a student, whether they're in Algebra 1 or Calculus, says, when will I need this concept? They could pull up my website, my app, and say, oh, you need this for cameramen. You need this to be a financial advisor. And then the kids are like, oh, this is relevant, and then they're more engaged.
Wow. You know, that is so important when you think about how you do make that relevant. And you've talked about how you're going out in the business community and how you're working with other teachers. So when you think about the practical, real-world value of math, What do you think is your unique ability to help students really understand that math is real and they're going to use it every day and in their careers?
Well, I dumb it down for them, because like I said, I was not good in high school at math. So I try to make it so accessible to them to where in my head, I'm thinking, how would I explain this to a fifth grader? I want everybody to understand what I'm teaching because it is relevant. It's not just on the ACT. It's not just on their EOC. It's not just on the AP exam. It could have real life applications. So again, if I could connect what we're doing in class to real life examples,
Right.
Then I think it's practical. Right? Because if they can see, my favorite example, my best friend from high school lays pipe in Texas, oil pipes, and she uses calculus every day on how to, she tells her people where to dig to build the pipe, and that's math every day. And she's outside using her hands, and it's so fun. And the kids are like, pipe laying has math? It does.
Yes.
It really does. And I've actually had kids interested in that career now because I brought that into the classroom. So I truly believe that exposing students to careers they may not know about helps our community and helps them in the long run.
No question about it. You talk about the whole relationship between community and business and the connection you have with the chamber. I remember a few years ago when we were just developing Blue Oval City. Then a number of schools actually went and connected with the Ford Motor Company talking about the jobs and the skill sets that they're going to be needing. And, it's a little bit like the whole Wayne Gretzky line. People ask him, why was he the greatest hockey player of all time? He said most people skated where the puck was. He skated where the puck was going to be.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing, is you're trying to find what are the skill sets that are needed and how do kids get to where they're going to be so they can be competitive in the job market.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Doesn't that benefit our society in the long run if we do that?
It does.
We don't want our kids leaving Collierville.
No.
We don't want them to go to UT Knox and then stay there. We don't want them to go to Mississippi State and then stay there. We are building our home base here. So why don't we connect them with jobs here in Collierville so when they leave and go to college, they want to come back because this is where the jobs are for them.
Exactly. And again, it's the chicken or the egg. Do you have the jobs or do you have the people with the skills?
Yeah.
You've got to have both.
Exactly, at the same time.
So you talked a little bit about your blackout moment when you were named the Tennessee Teacher of the Year. What does it mean to you to represent Tennessee educators as the Teacher of the Year?
So one thing you may not know about me is that I'm not from Tennessee. I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Born and raised. But then I went, like I said, to play softball. Got a full ride to play softball at Mississippi Valley State in Mississippi. And I ended up in the Memphis area. And so, it was happenstance. Again, this is all God. This is why I put Christian as my first adjective, because I truly believe that he had this planned, before I was even born. I am here because of circumstance. And when I finished my PhD from the University of Mississippi, I was like, I need a really good school to work at so I can implement all these strategies that I learned. And Collierville was my first choice. I left Southwind, I left Memphis City School so I could pursue that PhD. And then I was like, I need to find a good school that will, allow me to be me, that will allow me to do these things. So that's why I ended up in Collierville. And so, Collierville has allowed me to, I'm going to sound cliche, spread my wings and do me. They've given me the autonomy that I need.
Would that be dragon's wings?
Dragon wings, big old dragon wings.
Okay,
there you go. Barbara Streisand, be proud. Big old dragon wings. And they let me do what I need to do. And so this has been a great sounding board for me, a great starting place for me. But as Teacher of the Year, I feel like I could take everything that Collierville has given me and I can promote it throughout the state. And I'm excited about getting that opportunity, about showing other states what it means to be an effective math teacher, what it means to take these skills from real life jobs and put them into your classroom on a daily basis. That's what I'm looking most forward to.
Wow. So now with this recognition also comes a platform. And so you talked a little bit about what your intent is. Is there a message that you would like to hope to share, during your time in this role?
So I actually have two platforms. So I just submitted my National Teacher of the Year application today.
Okay.
It was due today. And one of the questions was, what is your platform? If you win, what is your platform going to be on? And my platform is going to be, as we've talked about, implementing real life concepts into the classroom. So we're preparing our students for the job market. That is something I'm very strong on, something I believe heavily in. But I also believe in teacher morale. I also believe in benefiting our teachers.
Right.
It is hard being a teacher. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is hard. But we are finding it more challenging to hire teachers.
Right.
Because there's not just that many out there anymore, that many people enrolling into education degrees. So another part of my platform is promoting the awesomeness that is teaching. Teaching is an exceptional career. And like I said, I didn't want to be a teacher. If you talk to 20-year-old Brandi or 18-year-old Brandi and said, you're going to be a math teacher, I would have laughed hard. So this is not where I thought I was. So it's the same thing with these students here. They might in their head say, there's no way I'd be a teacher. You don't know.
Right.
Leave it open. Just try it. What does it hurt to try it? Teaching is great. I love teaching. So my platform is going to be just try it. Give education a year, 2 years. I think you're going to be happy because this job is so rewarding. The love you get from students is amazing, and you're actually making a difference, a real difference every day.
No question about it. So as you, in your role as Tennessee Teacher of the Year, as you visit schools all across the state, what are some of the common challenges as well as some of the successes that you see among teachers all throughout the state?
So I'm sure you don't know this. I'm actually the 2026 Tennessee Teacher of the Year.
Okay.
So it doesn't even start until January.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're just getting ready to roll with this.
Yeah, I'm just getting warmed up right now. So, and I didn't know that either. So officially I'm the 2025-2026 Tennessee Teacher of the Year, but I'm on the 2026 cohort with 54 other teachers in the nation.
Okay.
And so it will be announced, top 4 will be announced in December and the winner will be announced in February on like Good Morning America or something crazy like that. So I have not had an opportunity yet to go to other schools.
Okay.
But I am very excited about that opportunity because like I've said so many times, what we have at Collierville is crazy unique. And other schools should look at us and say, what can we do to be like Collierville?
So this is like breaking news. You were the freshly minted
Yes.
Tennessee Teacher of the Year.
Fresh,
I love that.
Fresh. Yeah.
So we'll talk prospectively. So how do you anticipate that you will be advocating, for your fellow educators and for public education as a whole with this great platform that you're going to have?
So I started the morale committee at the school 3 years ago because I believe that teaching is incredibly challenging, but it's not rewarding enough. And I'm not talking about salary. I'm talking about emotionally. It's draining every day, and we need each other. I've said it in everything, in my speeches, in my interviews. Teaching is a team sport, and you're only as good as your teammates. So I work hard to make sure we are all really strong teammates by being a cohesive unit, by being a team. We do fun after school activities, during school activities, because this school's huge, 180 teachers. We have to collaborate and be on each other's team. So I really work hard to advocate for us within the school so we can have fun together and be a unified front. What that means across the state is that I'm just going to promote teaching as an amazing opportunity. And we are blessed to be here, but what does that look like?
Right.
What does that look like? And I think teachers should be happy to go to work. I think teachers should be happy when we leave work, whether it's a hard day or a bad day, a hard day or a great day. We should still be like, we're still blessed to be this job. I hate hearing that the retention rate is at 70%, 30% of teachers are leaving. I hate that. What can we do to make that higher? What can we do to keep teachers in the classroom? So I'm going to talk to the TDOE, Tennessee Department of Education. I'm going to talk to different industries throughout the state. What can we do together to help our teachers, to promote education as a whole, and to really just make teachers happier from start to finish so we don't leave, so they stay the whole 30 years until retirement.
Exactly. Wow, this is going to be an amazing opportunity, and again, this is a very powerful message, because again, when you talk about the job, then as you say, it's not just about the salary, but it's also about feeling that sense of team, that sense of support, that sense of engagement, and keeping that passion.
Yes.
Because we know that, as you can say, there can be challenging days.
Yes, and after 30 years, maybe that passion subsides, but what can we do to keep that passion alive? What can we do to make every year, a new fun year? And I think at Collierville, we try very hard to do that with all the fun that we're implementing. But is that being done across the state? I don't know. So when I start next year, I'm going to go look and see what I can do to help.
There we go. So, all right, so you're talking about the wonderful people who are out there teaching now. So, but what advice would you have for new teachers who are just now starting their journey, just now entering the profession?
So I had a student teacher for my first time last year. Her name's Kennedy Walton. She walked into my room and she goes, you were my math teacher. And I was like, wow. She was during COVID, so faces. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And she told me, it's like, I am pursuing math education because you really meant something to me. Like, you ingrained this in me, and I'm doing this in part because of you. That was life-changing for me to hear that. And so she was an exceptional student teacher, and she actually was working here at Collierville at CMS. No, at West. Ooh, I think she's working at West, sorry. And at one of the middle schools. And she's so happy. She is so happy. But she comes to me for advice. And what I tell her is, it gets better. Year 1 and year 2, so hard, so challenging. Everything's new. Everything's being thrown at you.
Right.
You know, the undergraduate programs, they prepare you, but not enough, because you can't be in a full room of kids where it's your room. You know, no other adults there. So I tell her, and I'm going to tell everybody, 3 years. 3 years. Stick with it for 3 years. If you can do 3 years in education, after 3 years, it is smooth sailing. It's those 3 years. It's like the 3-year hump. Yep. You know, understanding the technology, understanding the way students act, understanding your administration, understanding your team. It takes 3 years to get there. And then second, build your team. It's not a solo sport. We're not golfers here. We're not tennis players here. Teaching is a team sport. Find your team. Find your people. Your people is what makes this awesome. So from day one, find your team. Find the people you can trust, the people you can vent to, and the people who have your back, and work together with them every single day. That team makes this job what it's worth. It's amazing.
I love that. So we talked about, you know, the more seasoned teacher, we talked about the new teachers. When we think about the whole idea of education, then what gives you the most hope about the future of education in this state?
Well, I don't know if you've read the newspapers lately, but our scores are going up, going up so much. Our reading scores are going up, our math scores are going up, our ACT scores are going up. So that's a positive. As someone who looks at data, because I'm a math person, that data is exciting, right? But you know, as a whole, someone who doesn't look at data, what's exciting is that kids are staying here. Like, they're going to school here and they're coming back here. They understand that Tennessee is their home and they don't want to leave. And so I'm excited because I want to promote our state and how great it is and keep people in the state. And I think that message is already being spread. You know, stay home. Don't leave. Tennessee is great. We are on the up. We are moving up. We're not, you know, 49th or 48th anymore.
No.
You know, we're almost in the top half. And if we keep this trajectory going, we're going to be in the top 10 before too long. And that is so well for our future. That bodes so well for our future. So Tennessee has so much going for us. We have the industries moving in here, Amazon's coming, and I think once we have the big industries in here, if we can start correlating with them, relating to them, bringing what they're doing into our classroom, we have nowhere to go but up, and that's so exciting.
I couldn't agree more. I've had the opportunity to work with the SCORE organization here in Tennessee for many, many years. Senator Frist set this up to really reform education and really begin to make that change as we begun to elevate from being 49th. And, but it's, we always used to say, thank God for Mississippi.
I know, right? Yeah, I remember those days, yeah.
But again, the opportunity is incredible, and we just need to make sure that we keep everybody as a team focused on the amazing thing that can happen here.
Yes, let's keep pushing.
All right, so we've talked about kind of big picture stuff. Let's kind of bring it back down a little bit. So what has been the most rewarding moment that you've had in your career so far as a teacher?
So I know the proper response is probably being, you know, when I won Tennessee Teacher of the Year. That's not it. The most rewarding moment is when I won Teacher of the Year for the school. Because so the process is your school votes on you. They vote on who they wanted. And my peers voted on me. That's rewarding. Like, the state, they only know what you did in an interview or what you did in an application. My peers voting for me, they see me as a whole person. They know me as a mom, as a teacher. So they knew me and they still voted for me. That was the most rewarding. When Mr. Jones, I remember I was in giving a test in Algebra 2, and Mr. Jones comes with an announcement. I'm like, he never does an announcement right now. And he said, I'm just making this announcement to announce our Teacher of the Year. And my kids were looking up. I said, shh, take your test. Shh, take your test. And he's like, it's Dr. Brandi de la Cruz. And they stood up and clapped. And I was like, you're still taking a test, sit down. Because I didn't believe it. Like, that was the most rewarding, that my peers, people I've worked with for 5 years at the time, said it was me. And I'm so appreciative of that.
That's so amazing. So again, in your 16 years, you've really achieved an awful lot of great things. But so what does success look like for Brandi de la Cruz?
I don't know. I'm one of those people who's never happy in the moment. I'm always striving for more. I know that I'm good at what I do. I want to be great at what I'm doing. I'm never satisfied. I always want to achieve more, do more. And I think success, it's not going to be winning National Teacher of the Year. I mean, that'd be great. But I would love to be top 4. So the next step is if they like you, you get top 4, and then you get to go to DC and sit in front of the Department of Education and other powerful players and interview directly in front of them. That's the goal. I would love to be just top 4 to get that experience.
Sure.
But success for me is when kids come back to me and say, I remember you. They find me on Facebook, they find me on Instagram, they see me at the stores, and they say, you don't remember me, but you were my teacher 10 years ago. You made me love math. You made me graduate because you pushed me. You made me go into this field because you pushed me. That's success for me, is when what I'm doing in the classroom resonates beyond the classroom and has an impact on students when they're adults.
Well, I'm sure that they're like when your student teacher.
Yes.
Candy and tells you that's incredible. So
Yeah.
So there's so many rewarding aspects of being a teacher.
So many. I couldn't just pinpoint one. I mean, just try it. That's what I'm going to tell all. When I'm going to actually University of Arkansas in a couple of weeks to talk to their undergraduates, like, just try it. Don't give up. It gets hard. Don't give up. I want to tell that to the world. Try teaching. Try it. We are in need of special education teachers, science teachers, and math teachers. What's the harm? Just try it.
Just give it a try.
Just go for it.
I tell you what, I love that. Well, we talked about these kids. We talked about these amazing kids here at Collierville High School, and here we are filming in this an incredible TV studio that's run by these amazing, outstanding students who are doing this. What message would you have for the students of Collierville High School, your students and all the other ones here, when it comes to leadership?
So again, we have over 3,000 students here. We're the largest high school in the state of Tennessee.
Yep.
Leadership looks different for everyone. Leadership does not have to be vocal. Leadership does not have to be loud. My recommendation for these students is to find your people, find your niche, whether it's here in this beautiful studio, whether it's in the welding room, whether it's in the chess club, whether it's a knowledge bowl. Find your group and be a leader with that group, whether it's silent or loud, and you lead by example. You lead by doing what's right. You lead by being friendly to other people, accepting their ideas, opening yourself up, being vulnerable, which is so hard for kids these days.
Yes.
But being a leader is being vulnerable. You think I want to, I'm enjoying all these interviews I'm doing. I'm putting myself out there. I'm trying to lead, though. Being a leader is being vulnerable. And whether that means being silent or being loud, I think every student at the school is a leader in their own right. They just have to find their group. And at the school this big, there's so many groups. Just find your group, stick with them, and lead them in the right direction.
So important, and especially when they come into a new high school. Such a huge building. To find that place, find that niche, find that place where they fit.
And they will. If they try, they will. There's so many clubs here. I think we have over 200 clubs. All of our sports. Like, we have mountain biking. Did you know that? Mountain biking. Like, find a club, find something, but be a part of it. Be a part. Don't just be an individual. Be a part of some group, and then try to be a leader within that group.
Absolutely. Brandi, you have impacted so many young lives by the work that you've done. When you look back on these incredible relationships that you have built, how have your students, you think, left their mark on you?
So I love my students. I've taught the low students, the students who walk in having taken math, the same math class 3 years in a row because they keep failing it,
right,
to teaching AP calculus. So I've taught the gambit, right? And the kids are all the same. They are all the same kids, whether they are very, knowledge-based low or very brilliant, 36 on the ACTs. They're all the same kids. They all want acceptance. They all want love. They all want to know that you care about them.
Yep.
So when I came into teaching, empathy was not high on my to-do list. Building relationships was not something I cared about. I came to teach. Right? And so now these students have shown me what empathy looks like, what love looks like. These kids love hard. And the way they love their teachers, if they respect you, if you build a relationship with them, it's impactful.
Right.
And I think it's making me a better mom because I see the way they love, and that's how I love my son. It's without end. No matter what I do, these kids love. If you care about them, respect them, and treat them right, they love you and they want to work hard for you and they want to learn from you. So these students have shown me how to be a better person, not just a teacher, how to be a better person, because they're so innocent and they're so sweet and they really care, and I want to do the same in return to them.
I love that. Now, you said you've been teaching for 16 years. And we know we're at least going for 30, if not more.
That's the goal.
But when you get to the end of your career, years and years from now, and you reflect back on your journey, on your career, what would you hope would be the legacy of Dr. Brandi de la Cruz?
Have you ever seen Mr. Holland's Opus? Right?
One of my favorite movies.
Same. So for the younger people who are like, what is that movie? Mr. Holland was a music teacher, and at the end of his career was more than 30 years, I believe. He was not supposed to be a teacher. He was a composer, and he was not famous. Nobody liked his music. So he said, if I can't do this, let me go teach. Like, I guess I have to go teach. And he loved it. He was an exceptional teacher. So at the end of his 30, 40-year career, he's like, I'm retiring. And the principal's like, okay, you can retire. Come to the auditorium to sign your paperwork. He walks in the auditorium, and it's filled with students he taught. One was a governor, one was teacher, one was an actual composer. And they stood and they gave him a standing ovation. And they said, even though this was not your dream, you made our dreams happen.
That's right.
That's what I want. Like, I'm not naive. I don't want a whole auditorium full of people, but I want to meet people that say, I'm me because you impacted me. That's what I want my legacy to be. I want people to say, I am who I am because Dr. de la Cruz did this for me or impacted me in this way. And I think if I keep going on this journey, hopefully that'll happen.
I love it. Well, you know, Richard Dreyfuss, who played Mr. Holland in there, I think he'd be very proud of
I hope
the
so.
teachers.
I'll email him and see.
But no, that's such an amazing movie. And I think such a great message.
It is.
And because we all want to look back and think that we've touched the lives of others.
Yes.
And you have. And you continue to do that, and I know you will for many, many years to come. So thank you so much, Brandi,
Thank you for
being with
having
us.
me.
This has been so amazing. You know, you have such a great heart for students and the commitment you have to education, really
Thank you.
sending that message out there. You're making a difference, a lasting difference in our classrooms. So thank you for what you do, not only here in Collierville, but what you're going to be doing as you begin this journey as the Tennessee Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
And for 2026, we are so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Pure mathematics is, in its own way, the poetry of logical ideas. Albert Einstein. One of my favorite quotes over the past 30 years of educational advocacy came from Henry Adams, who once said, "A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops." I've long believed that teachers are society's greatest heroes. Their efforts help prepare our students for engaged citizenship and global competitiveness. Albert Einstein understood the power of mathematics to change our world. He said, "I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn." Einstein also stated, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." Mathematics is the essential engine of problem solving. It is the duty of all teachers, and of all teachers of mathematics in particular, to expose their students to problems much more than to facts. Gun On said it best, "We must teach students to understand why. We must teach them a deep foundational understanding of numbers so that they can create the steps themselves." Stefan Banach expressed his love for the art of teaching mathematics when he said, "Mathematics is the most beautiful and most powerful creation of the human spirit." We are incredibly blessed to have many amazing teachers in Collierville schools. They inspire our children to achieve their dreams and to fulfill their potential. A shining example of that legacy of excellence is Dr. Brandi de la Cruz. We are so proud that her brilliance as a teacher has been recognized as the 2025-2026 Tennessee Teacher of the Year. But I truly believe that the greatest award that Brandi will achieve is the achievements and successes of her students as they build lives of purpose and passion. Brandi has worked diligently to achieve her success, yet I believe her legacy will be the profound impact that her teaching will have in each of her students. Brandi is leading a life of true significance and influence. And in the words of Henry Adams, she is touching eternity. And that is my 2 cents. Until next time, I'm your host, David Pickler. Thank you for watching Bull TV, where together we deliver solutions for a stronger community.